It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a spinning circus tent rocketing from outer space toward the small town of Crescent Cove. Two teenagers investigate the site and, to their horror, find out the circus tent is not for entertainment, but is instead a spaceship filled with clown-like alien beings feasting on the residents of their town in cotton candy cocoons. That's right, cocoons. No one will believe them, and they decide to take matters into their own hands. This is It Records. Welcome back to the podcast, all you creatures of the night. I am Matt Johnson, one of your hosts, joined as always with the lovely, the magnanimous, the ever-charming, the charismatic, the real superstar of the show. Lindsay Clark is here, everybody. Lindsay Clark is in the booth, in the It Records booth.
Hi, everyone. Thank
Shocker that you...
That's
oh, what's praise. That? Oh, Pete's here too. Pete just walked in the door. Pete is here in the booth. Welcome, Pete. Come on in.
He's standing in the background. Don't give him the mic.
Take that away from him. Security. All right. So we're here.
Who's security? Your cat?
No, it's the It Records security that I hired recently with the additional revenue we've been pulling in from our merchandising.
Yeah, you know.
I got a button here that calls them up.
So it's called no, I forgot that. Never mind. It's called IRS.
It Records security.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think you should trademark that before someone else takes
I will.
it.
I'll make sure to get right on that. Get my lawyer on the phone. Our lawyer for the It Records podcast.
Yeah, we have a lawyer.
On retainer.
Bob blah blah.
Bob blah blah. Bob blah blah.
Yeah. Bob blah blah.
Attorney at law. Anyway, this week on the podcast, we watched the 1988 cult classic Killer Klowns with a K from Outer Space.
It was a night like any other night. Then something happened.
Did you see that?
Something different.
It's no shooting star.
Why here? Why now? Why clowns? They've been knocking them dead all over the universe.
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
Soon they'll be doing it at a theater near you.
Killer Klowns from outer space.
Pizza.
Maybe they're just cruising through the galaxy and stopped here for a bite to eat.
You don't need a police pal, you need a psychiatrist. They want to play games? They're messing with the wrong guy.
What are you in for?
Killer Clowns from outer space. It's crazy.
All K's, even in space.
They're all K's, even in space.
Yeah.
Naturally.
I think that was.
It's silent.
I think that was the second tagline for this movie. After "In space, no one can eat ice cream."
Yeah.
It's literally a tagline for this movie.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of... I saw these guys. The makers
The
of the
Chiodo
movie.
brothers.
Where?
Yeah. At when I saw it at the Music
Oh,
Box
that's awesome.
Very recently, correct?
in Chicago. It was very recent. It was like a week and a half ago.
Wow.
They seem like normal people that are nerds. They're from the East Coast. They have it's like, I was like, are these guys from fucking Boston?
Yeah. Very thick accents.
Because like, you know, just have that like little East Coast like vibe in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they
But they haven't did anything in a long time.
no, like, well, this is, I feel like, the only one that they've directed. They wrote this movie, directed it together,
Produced
it, did all
did the special
effects,
effects.
all the art design. But they are really known in Hollywood for, art design stuff, correct? Like, they did work on Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah, they did a decent amount, like, projects, like, early on, and then, like, after this came out, they kind of, like, didn't do anything. And I was, like, trying to figure out, like, why? Because I was, like... And they also talked about, like, when I saw them, like, they wanted... So in the crowd was like, when's the sequel coming out?
Yeah.
Typical shit you hear at a Q&A. Everyone just asks terrible questions. Everyone's drunk. Anyways, they want to make a sequel.
Since when this came out, 1988, right?
Yeah, they've wanted to make one since
Yeah,
then.
they're supposed to
But
be.
they're saying stuff might happen. They're saying there's since it was so popular,
Oh gosh.
they're
Right on those coattails.
they're trying to ride on those coattails. They probably should have jumped the gun a little faster than what they're doing right now. But
Because
I
it's
don't
been
know.
like 30 years.
They were, I don't know if they were just pandering to the crowd, being like, yeah, expect something to happen. But I don't know. I could believe something could happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, would be the 30th year, right? Yeah, 30 years it came out.
Yeah, it was. That's why they did it.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so...
Apparently, it's being re-released in 3D or some shit.
Oh, that...
I could have sworn I saw. I could have sworn I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, probably remastered as well. Some Blu-ray, since it is a cult classic, but I think even from when it originally came out, it had a following, if I'm correct. And for those who haven't seen it, it is almost exactly what it kind of sounds like. It's a slapstick horror, I would say, similar with the vibe of, even more so extreme than like The Burbs, or Reanimator might be a better kind of vibe that this one gives off.
Even more slapstick, because he plays it so deadpan. This is just like fucking like those like Hanna-Barbera cartoons or something, or just fucking Looney Tunes. It's just so like ridiculous.
Yeah, like cartoonish, almost.
Very cartoonish.
Yeah,
But in all the best ways possible. Like, I remember when I was sitting in the movie theater and I whispered to my girlfriend, I was like, I'm pretty impressed how they make this whole movie based on gags on what you could do with clowns. They managed to fool the full hour and a half about gags with clowns, and they pulled it off.
Yeah.
You got cotton candy, you got fucking popcorn, you got
Pies.
silly straws, you got pies,
Mm-hmm. A clown car.
you got the clown
Yes.
car, there's just too much to fucking name, man, and they got it all.
Yeah, it gets
And you got that cop
Mooney.
who's
Yeah.
Mooney, who's in fucking Animal House,
Mm-hmm.
right? Isn't he in Animal House?
I believe so, yeah.
Isn't he the fucking like Dean?
Oh, is he? Is it D?
I thought he
Yeah,
was.
okay. I think so, because he gets a credit where it's like Lieutenant Mooney or whatever is whatever Vernon. Like, he's the only one who got a call out in the opening credits that, oh, this guy, by the way, is in this movie.
When that name appeared, people were like, "Yeah!" They were like cheering, like so loud.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, guys, like, come on, nerds,
Yeah.
calm down."
Yeah.
He's
Well, he kills it in this role, where
he does.
it's the movie follows this couple. Mike Tobacco is his name, and is it Debbie? Is Debbie the female lead?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And
I know no one's name. I don't even know the clowns' names. People in the audience know the clowns' names, but I didn't.
yeah,
Oh, that's impressive.
mm-hmm.
Because I don't.
Well, there were people dressed like in clown makeup. Some juggalos maybe. Who knows?
Are you serious?
There was a guy who had a juggalo shirt on.
But he wasn't.
That
Was
is-
he in makeup, full makeup of one of the characters?
There was face makeup on a couple people for sure.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
way too far.
I mean, she was really into it. She was having a great time.
Big fan. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah. Because people amped.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You could take your pictures with the clowns. Didn't do it because there was a huge line.
Yeah.
You could get someone's autograph. Didn't do it because there was a huge line. But I did get popcorn in a Diet Coke.
Did it turn into Killer Clown offspring? Your popcorn.
That's the real question.
I
here.
ate it, and so did my girlfriend. So if I'm not around, you'll know what happens.
Yeah, you're gonna have like an alien situation where it's gonna burst from your
Yeah.
stomach.
Alright. Good to
And
know.
then it's gonna start dancing with a little top hat.
Yeah.
But you didn't ask me if I had a little thing,
Oh boy.
a little creepy headline.
Pete, do you have a creepy headline for Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
No, but it's nice to be asked.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna surprise me there and everything.
I was hoping you'd do that too.
Yeah, I thought we threw me for a loop, but
I should have made one up. I should have made one
yeah,
up.
we wouldn't
You guys would have believed me. You would have believed
have
me.
not known a difference.
We would have been
You're not
none
gonna
the
fact
wiser.
check me on that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna fact check me for? It doesn't exist.
No. Yeah, so with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it's an hour and 28 minutes, so it's real tight.
Real
Really
short.
short, but it gets going right away where it gives you a setup of like a lot of not college, but like teenagers in this town. It is a college town, so they are college kids in
Yes.
this college town, and there's the cop Mooney who won't take any of their shit. He's pissed off from minute one.
He's mad at the fucking world
Mm-hmm.
for these Gen Xers. I don't know what the hell they
Mm-hmm.
are.
Making a mockery of his town.
Yeah,
So,
taking away his freedom.
and they're at like a makeout point, our main characters, and a shooting star comes over, similar to like the Blob beginning. I feel like it's similar
Yeah.
to Blob, and something lands in the woods, and they go to investigate, and it's a circus tent, and from there, the insanity ensues for the next hour and 10 minutes of clown puns.
Yeah, I wish I would have asked them how many drugs they were on. When they did this movie, because I'm sure they were. They probably wouldn't have said, but I would say, you guys came up with some pretty weird shit.
Yeah, and I will give it to him. The design, like all the way from the clowns, like the makeup to the practical effects to the spaceship, it seems cartoonish, as you said, and I think that kind of adds to the element of they put a lot of detail into it.
That's where all the money went, was to the clowns. I think they spent like $2 million doing all that stuff. They said.
Oh yeah, I mean I believe it. It seemed like a lot of work went into that.
It's great. Yeah, they do a great job.
All the way to the cotton candy cocoons down in the
That's the best part, I think.
basement of their spaceship.
Jumping ahead for a second, you remember the giant clown?
Clownzilla?
Conzella?
Yeah, that
At the very end?
What
yeah,
a badass.
that's one of the brothers in that costume.
Yeah.
And he said that it was 120 degrees in the tent, and he was in
The
that.
Master Clown suit. Oh my god.
Yep. And he said that he was just like sweating and like he couldn't see and he couldn't wipe his eyes because he was in this fucking costume.
Well, I also heard that they wanted to do that was like going to be a claymation scene, Clownzilla,
Yeah.
but instead of because they ran out of budget and time, they had to
They wanted him to be like a puppetry too.
yeah, but they had to put him in a rubber suit because of time constraints and budget. Yeah, and I heard that the impetus for this movie was the one scene where, first of all, there's like a montage scene in the middle where like the clowns are just pulling gags on the people of Crescent Grove, like these one's a pizza delivery.
great.
Delivery.
It's a great scene.
But in one of those, there's someone driving down the road in a car, and the clown like drives up next to the person, but they're not in a car. They're just like sitting down, like motorcycling next to the person. The Chiodo brothers said one of them thought, "Well, what's one of the scariest things you can think of?" And he said, "A clown that would like pull up next to me in a car, but wasn't in a car." And so that scene kind of set the stage with the killer clowns from outer space. Which
That sounds like a high thought to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's just the feel of this movie is like just it lands. There's this tent, and then clown gags the whole time, and crazy ways to kill them, from acid pies to popcorn offspring.
You guys, yeah, I like the best. I mean, I think all of the killings by the clowns were really creative. I think my favorite was then they just like bludgeon. I think it was a cop with pies, and they like put a damn cherry on the top. Like it was so great.
Mm-hmm. And they just slowly walked in.
So casual.
Yeah, I also liked, what are you gonna knock my block off? The guy who broke the little clown's bike, and he literally knocks his block off.
That caused a riot at that theater. Even though I've seen it, I was still laughing my ass off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's when the insanity kind of like ensues. It's like before that, it's just like, okay, there's some weird shit going on with some popcorn and some cotton candy cocoons. And then he drives up in that little tricycle, and that guy on the motorcycle is like, oh, just fucking destroys it. And then, you knock my block off. Pow! Right in the kisser, and his head comes flying off.
Yeah. And then right after that is the pizza delivery one, where they pop out of the pizza box. Yeah, and it kind of takes off from there. We're like, okay, I'm meant to laugh at this stuff. It's not meant to be truly horror.
Right.
This is where the outer space from the killer clowns comes from.
Yeah, and in terms of like body count, I think other movies you count up like 5 or 6 people, but they took out a whole town. When we get to the end, and there's like hundreds of cocoons of people.
Yeah,
just in the.
There's like no one left, and then there's like some people that are like hiding under cars, and like we got them. They're like with their vacuums or whatever.
Oh yeah, they're like street sweeping with a vacuum.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, that's great, and the acting adds to it. I think from Mike Tobacco, our main guy, some of his lines to the 2 brothers who have the ice cream truck, and then Lieutenant Mooney, just solidify it as this crazy slapstick horror movie.
It's just got all these great, like, crazy characters. That, like, the police chief, he's just, like threatening the 2 punk kids in the beginning of the movie. He says, like, I swear to God, like, I'm gonna kill you for being college students.
For drinking wine. Like, they were crossing campus with a wine bottle or something.
Taking that shit in my town.
Or I like,
And then he, like, pulls out a glass and pours some whiskey.
Yeah. Or Mooney calls out Tobacco because he thinks the brothers who own the ice cream shop are running a gag all over. Everybody's in on this gag. The clowns are from outer space against him. And he's like, listen here, you little fart. I know what you and your buddies are up to. You can't fool me. This is my town. And I was like, oh, I'm on board for Mooney. Even though I know something bad's going to happen to him. I'm on board.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
Like, he's on acting level 110% the entire time.
Yeah.
And the brothers are great, too. I was, like, wondering if they were based off, like, the brothers that made the movie. Because they're just so goofy.
That's what I was thinking, too. The Terenzi brothers? Who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't their whole ice cream truck like a ploy just to get girls? Is that right?
Yeah.
Like, great fucking plan.
And then like, the 2 girls like, what kind of girls do you think we are? Yeah. He said we could eat all the ice cream we could have. But we're not going to make out with you. I was like, what is this plan?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a way to pick up chicks, I guess, is to have your own ice cream truck. Oh. But hey, in the end, they do get 2 ladies, correct? Are we supposed to presume that they hooked up with those 2 clown?
Yeah, the
2 clown women, yeah.
Yeah.
In the spaceship.
I believe. Yeah, in the spaceship, because they had kissing marks all over their face.
Yeah.
You know, it was very Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Or like the one cartoon where it's like that wolf like pounding on the table and like his eyes like shoot out of his face and his tongue hangs out. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
It's like it's like something from The Mask or something.
And also cartoonish is like the one clown that was in the jail that killed Mooney. There was all like the footmarks, the clown shoes, like on the ground.
Yeah,
that's super cartoonish. Like follow the footprints.
just great gags, and we're spoiling all of them, but you'll be entertained. Is what we're saying, because it's just it's out there, it's outer space.
Yeah, and I think what adds to its credit is it's a crazy idea for a movie. It's like killer clowns from outer space, and they come and they have cotton candy cocoons where they drink people's blood and these gags, but it's filmed so straight. I feel like it's not filmed like they try to film it like a straight movie, but the characters are so outlandish.
Yeah, and
like what you're seeing is so outlandish that it just works. That
soundtrack is pretty works well with it.
Yeah, the soundtrack is perfect because it kind of sounds like a carnival merry-go-round thing or whatever, but it's
that's weird, but works. It's good.
Yeah. Now I have a question for you guys. At the end of this movie, we see, first of all, the weakness of the clowns is their nose. David stabs Clownzilla in the nose and the spaceship explodes. And you have Mike, Debbie, the Terenzi brothers, and Dave all celebrating that the clowns are gone. But then we hear the soundtrack come on and the pies hit them in the face, like the debris from the spaceship blowing up.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to presume that that's the same pies that killed that police officer?
You would think.
So are they?
You would think that. You would think that they would be dead. They'd be like, "We fucking got you in the end."
Yeah, are they supposed to be dead? Because it kind of freeze frames for a second.
What are you doing with those pies, boys?
Yeah.
The fucking security guard.
The amusement park security guard after dark.
Yeah. After dark, it's a real high-profile job, that one.
I was just going to say, we know that this doesn't have any sequels, but does anybody have any budget numbers? I know, Pete, did they mention anything when you talked to them about how much it cost? Because the box office is around $2 million that they got, and I would assume they didn't have more than that.
I could have sworn they said that they spent $2 million on the costuming alone. I could have sworn that was the number. I don't remember anything else.
I mean, well, if that's right, then it clearly was not a commercial success because it was $2 million just to make, and so they got to pay actors and all that stuff too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now it's with it being a cult favorite, it made probably more money than I feel like those cult movies they don't really track those numbers very well. I feel like something like The Room has to make so much money by now because they just show it in all these small theaters and people just pack in to see it,
Oh yeah.
And they show it for 30 years, where some other movie has got the staying power of a month, but you got something, these cult classics that are coming year after year.
Yeah, they play them you mentioned The Room. They'll be playing somewhere throughout the year always. Rocky Horror Picture Show is like that every October.
Yeah.
And I think this one falls into that category where you put it at a movie theater, people are going to come. They're going to be...
Oh, it was so crowded. There was 300 people that showed up, I think.
Yeah. And they'll be talking at the screen, throwing popcorn. Grand old time. Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's a good movie. It's a good experience to go to a cult screening. Because everyone there is there's actually a decent amount of people that never saw it. Because they had a little pre Q&A. There was a guy who was who hasn't seen the movie, and it was a good chunk of people. 30 people that haven't seen it. I'm like, what caused you to go here? I guess they got dragged by friends or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or by their significant other.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that, I think we can... Oh, I think so, yeah. I think this would be a time that we could do the Defender Destroy, as we kind of talked about the style of the movie, and I'll kick it off this time, and I'll defend it. I'll defend Killer Klowns from Outer Space. This one was a difficult one for me because I really tried to like figure out, you know, what is a horror movie, and like for me, why do I defend or destroy them? But it really does fall into that slapstick horror lens, like hardcore. And I like The Burbs, and like I always talk about The Reanimator, and Pete isn't a fan of The Reanimator as much as me. And like I love The Reanimator and what it does for the genre because it has all those horror elements, but it's like funhousey, so you don't know whether to laugh or whether to be terrified. And this movie does a very good job of like blending those two, maybe even more so on the laughter side. But you do have those elements of horror where they're sucking the blood from the cotton candy cocoons, and the one scene where the clown is trying to lure the small child out of the restaurant. That's a pretty terrifying. Dark scene. So it does a very good job of that slapstick horror, and it's definitely a cult classic. I recommend it in a community setting where like watch it with some friends, because you'll laugh and you'll really enjoy it. It's a fun movie going experience.
Yeah, I'll agree with all of that. I think this movie is so wonderfully 80s. You know, these days, as we said, it's known as a cult classic, and I think movies like this one are what helped to make that decade so great, in horror particularly. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I thought the cotton candy cocoons were really creative. You know, all of the deaths I thought were really well thought out and laid out. And like at first, like I really wasn't scared because it was just like that's just a guy in a clown suit. But then like they multiply by like 100, and I don't like again like it's not like scary as a vibe, but more just like really creepy. And I think a lot of people find clowns very creepy at best. So I think this movie does a good job capitalizing on that fear and brings that out in people. So defend.
I also defend. It's just a fucking crazy movie. And you just fucking enjoy that thrill ride because they take you on one. Take you on a spaceship to outer space. Where they don't see you eat ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever the other tagline is. They're all just puns. They're all jokes. And it's great. I just can't even explain it because it's just like a lot of, like you said, it's just a lot of fun. And you wouldn't be surprised. You would be surprised how long you can make a joke about clowns last, but they keep throwing ones at you for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it works. Surprisingly, it works.
It's probably another plus for people like. Some people have very low attention spans for movies. This is an hour and 20 minutes. That's fucking nothing for a movie.
Super short. Mm-hmm. And last piece of trivia that they might have talked about, Pete, is it's called Killer Klowns from Outer Space, but the original title was just Killer Klowns with the K. And they put From Outer Space just to differentiate from the genre at the time. It was a lot of slashers and slaughter movies, and they wanted to differentiate that it wasn't going to be a slasher like the Killer Klowns. Oh, I know the movie. It's going to be these killer clowns that go around terrorizing these young kids. Pass. So they put From Outer Space in there at the last minute, just so people would know these are like some clowns from space, these alien clowns. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably a good call to set it out from other ones, even though if it didn't work out for them instantly. But like you said, I feel like we could all agree that becoming a cult classic is pretty great for both parties involved. Like you could really take pride in your work if you have a strong, passionate group of people that like your movie.
Yeah, I think it's a testament.
Definitely.
Especially with this one, because again, I said it's they got that community feel where it's fun to watch it with a group of people, and that will always be the case with this movie. It's fun to watch it with your friends and joke about it and have a few drinks.
Yeah, it's how many times How many times do you watch a cult classic movie compared to like a movie that's like, oh, this movie's really good and it won an Oscar, but I don't want to watch it again because it made me cry my eyes out.
Yeah. You could rewatch this hour and 20-minute clown alien movie over and over again.
Yeah, you know, you watched it quite a few times.
All right, well, without further ado, I think that wraps up this week's episode of It Records, where we talked about the 1988 cult classic Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Until next time, get at us on the internet. We have a Facebook, a Twitter, a webpage. We'd love to know what you're thinking about the podcast and what mini episodes or full-length episodes you'd like us to do. And stay in touch with us. Until next time, I am Matt Johnson, and I remain in the shadows.
I'm Peter Hansen, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space? Shit.
Lindsay Clark, and this place looks like it was decorated by Clowns R Us.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I'm glad that got in.